All right, I hope you've given this your best shot and came up with something really interesting looking.
This video is brought to you by ObbyPies Academy.
I've got my solution here with my CSS that solved the problem like this. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here's my result. So there's my document, my footer at the bottom. We've got our 3 columns. The key to this, of course, is the floats. So first off, I did a little trick that I do, and I take the body and I set the margin to 0, and then I set an actual margin on the container. For me, it just makes it easier to control because you don't have to worry about the little offset that the browser provides. Puts you in control of that. I made the primary font Arial and the sans serif as a backup, so that's in the container, which you'll note from the HTML surrounds all of the content. There's the container div. Then we had our image, and this I gave you with a width of 200 and a 1 pixel solid border around it. You could have changed that to make it more creative or more interesting or positioned it somewhere else. And then the header. So here's our header up here, width 100%, font size 2M, so twice normal size, and text align center. Now in the header, if we take a look at our developer tools, let's go ahead and bring those up. You might be wondering about all this space between these 2 elements. So let's just go ahead and look in our header. So body, inside the container, and inside the header. And there's our H1, and there's our H2. Notice the H1 and the H2 all have a tremendous amount of margin space before and after. So if you wanted to bring that closer, you could have said on the header, so we'll get the H2 in the header like that. And we could have said margin top 0 pixels. Now it's still being affected. If we take a look, we've got margin top, let's save, refresh. That's still being affected by the margin in the bottom of the H1. See that? So we also would need to take, there we go. Let's make that correct with the pound sign. So now if we also need to take the header on the H1, right, header H1, and set the margin bottom to, let's say, 10 pixels. Now watch what happens. We've saved, we refresh, and we bring that closer together. So you've got to take a look here at your developer tools and see what some of the natural or default settings are. And then you can make adjustments like that. All right, perfect. So then we have our footer. The important thing here, of course, on the footer is to clear the actual floats if you need to. So if you need to, you're going to add clear both right here. Then I set the secondary, which is here, to a font size of 0.95, floated that to the left, width of 20%. Padding 3 pixels. So that's what we get right here. The primary floated also to the left because it's floating to the left of secondary. And that I gave it with a 58% with a 3 pixels padding. Did some changes to the primary H2, the headline here. And then finally on the footer, have my clear both again down here. But on more secondary, that's floated to the right with 18%. Pixels 3 pixels, padding 3 pixels. So that's my solution. Yours is probably going to look different, but the idea here is to get a nice, clean, and creative layout using the layout features that are available in CSS.